Hey my lovers, today's video is going to be a Sharpie review. So these are alcohol based markers and I got them in the fine tip. So first let's look at the body of the pen. So the body of this pen for the fine tip is just this slim gray body, as you probably already know. It says Sharpie on it, it says fine point, and it has that like AP symbol, and it says permanent marker on it, and the cap fits on the other side. And this is how the tip kind of looks like. These are slightly used markers, so they have already been kind of used, and they have a pretty good ink life, and some of the tips stay firm, but normally over time the tips do dull, and sometimes they can get really soft, but they tend to have a certain firmness to them. And I actually lost the two purples that I have, so those are not going to be in this review, unfortunately. And the metallic markers I had, out of the three of them, the gold and the bronze were actually kind of dried out, so normally they would perform just as well as the silver on black paper, but unfortunately since they're dried out, they actually aren't showing up, and normally they're like paint. So that's the pens, and since these are alcohol based pens, I thought it would be fun to kind of try these out for blending to see if these would blend in general. And I think that even though there's a bullet nib, and blending with a bullet nib is a little bit harder because a lot of times when you're blending, it's a lot easier to use it with a brush marker. If you're looking for alcohol markers with brush tips, I definitely recommend the Ohuhu alcohol brush markers. I'll leave a review in the cards and in the description box below. But pretty much these are really good pens otherwise for blending. I think that the markers blended pretty nicely. It was a little bit harder to blend colors that are far apart, especially like if they're like a lot darker than the other color. Like I blended this like hot pinkish color with the light pink color, and it like blended really well at certain points, but like it had a different kind of blend. It didn't like melt the colors together. It kind of just like either totally like lightened the color or just like didn't lighten the color, if that makes sense. You'll see how it looks, but it just, I didn't really like the blend of the flower. It wasn't that great. And I did try using a darker color, and it kind of added it. It was just, I mean, I think that it could have blended a lot better. But I think, you know, these aren't really good at blending. And then I also did some faux calligraphy with them, and I blended, I believe the red and the blue. You'll see that later on, and that blended pretty nicely. At this point, I was using this like kind of, the paper was about as thick as like an index card, like slightly thicker, like in between an index card and like cardstock kind of. That was the thickness of this paper, and it was starting to kind of like rip, so that could have just been the paper. I don't think that was just the paper. And these didn't really bleed through that much except for the areas where I like layered. So like the swatches didn't really bleed through that much. I had something written on the other side of the page, so I couldn't show you guys what it looked like. So, but it didn't bleed that much. Like there was ghosting and like slight bleed through for like the single layers, but after you go over it multiple times, there was very heavy bleed through. And yeah, so here's the faux calligraphy blend that I was talking about. I decided to try to blend this dark blue and this red, hoping I'd get a purplish color, but it ended up looking really black, and it like kind of looks like a black to red, and the in-between color being a maroon, so that was not really expected, but I think it still turned out to be a pretty good blend. It took a little while to blend, but not as long as the flower did. So now lastly, we're going to look at the smudge. So they don't smudge at all with your normal finger, and with water-based markers they don't smudge either, so I'm gonna assume that with normal water they don't smudge either. But with alcohol markers, they are going to smudge, as these are alcohol based, so you can definitely use these in art pieces with your alcohol markers. And here's just some sound to listen to. So that's pretty much it for this video. Hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe and hit that bell to get notified every time I make new videos on stationery, calligraphy, and art on every Monday. And comment down below on what you think of Sharpies and any other alternatives that you know about. There's actually a lot. And don't forget to check out the description box for more videos you can watch while you wait for my next video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to have a happy Monday. Bye bye!